we will get started.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Remind podcast. I'm Dr. Ashleigh Moreland and I am joined as always, but not for too much longer, with my co-host David Masterton. And this episode actually comes off the back of an amazing conversation that I had with one of our listeners this morning. And it was actually really interesting because we've probably all experienced this. And we talk about the observer self, but there's nothing more profound than literally observing yourself through video. So if you have been recorded and then you have to watch the recording and you are literally seeing yourself from a perspective outside of your body, it is very telling. Anyway, the conversation that we were having was really around what I call the chameleon effect, because I'm massively paraphrasing here, but essentially we were talking about how you can change yourself so that it's completely inauthentic. You show up basically as a persona of who you think you need to be in that circumstance. And it might not even be a conscious decision, but it's like you become someone else. You become who the partner expects you to be. You become who society says you should be as a parent. You become who your, work ambition tells you should be. So much so that chameleon effect of like, I'm just going to change who I am to be, blend in with my environment, you lose yourself. Like it's completely inauthentic. But looking at that behavior as a full-blown survival response, like it literally serves a purpose of protecting us from rejection, protecting us from judgment, protecting us from, standing out too much or criticism or failure or whatever it might be. So I thought this would be an interesting topic to chat about.
Absolutely. Well, you and I have both gone through it, right? I mean, the first time that we've been on camera or looked at ourselves. Now, everyone listening has probably had a photo taken of themselves at some point in time and either gone, ooh, someone looks pretty fire, or who the hell is that?
Yeah.
Or even, I don't ever want to see that again. And I think, for me, I think before we started this podcast, I trialled another series, which was Two Dudes and a Psych, and seeing myself on video there, and I've done some other corporate stuff. It is really confronting because you're not used to seeing yourself. You're used to seeing from your perspective.
From you, yeah.
Not looking at yourself. And again, it's almost like if you ever want to take the observer mindset, sit down, record yourself and watch it.
Yes.
That's the observer mindset, because you can't do anything about what you're seeing right now because it's already been recorded. And so you're simply observing. And as you're observing that, I'm going to go inception, go one more level, go the observer effect of you observing yourself, and then go, how do I feel about what's being observed? And so when you have this chameleon effect coming in, it's because of the limiting beliefs or the trauma or whatever it is that says this, what I'm looking at, is not enough. And so on that basis, now what do I need to change? Because now that you've established, if this is the case, this is what I'm watching is not enough, what's it being compared to? Are you comparing yourself to a high-level big influencer on YouTube? Are you comparing your knowledge to someone who's got a vast library of podcast episodes and been doing this for a while with, incredible guests and all of that? Well, okay, we're all unique. Why are we comparing? But trust me, I guarantee you went through it. I sure as hell did. But then it's sort of coming back to, okay, just imagine for one moment everything I'm saying is good enough for now. Does it mean it's going to be the best it's ever been? No.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the worst it's ever been? Yes. So every time you show up, that comes on. But the chameleon effect means that suddenly you're pulling yourself away from your authentic self.
Yeah.
Because if you get yourself in front of the camera, which is not easy, that one-eyed monster that just stares at you and says, dance, monkey, dance, and then suddenly you get the sweats.
Yeah.
You can't think.
Yeah.
All the things that you thought that you could sit in front of someone and converse like hell and drop some banging jokes and sound really smart. I think I'm talking about David here. You then start to look like a rabbit in their headlights as soon as that one-eyed monster looks at you and says, dance, monkey. And then on top of that, it compounds. However, the chameleon effect takes you away from your authentic self because
100%.
somewhere deep in your authentic self is something ready to be seen, something ready to be heard. And that first interaction is a stepping stone. You don't run a marathon in one step. It's
I think that's the important thing, right? Like, it's our desire to be liked, our desire to be wanted, our desire to be enough. And this is so fascinating because my eldest child is 12 and there's, at this point, a particular girl that is in our world. And when the girl is separate from him and she's just over here, we see a version of her. And when obviously we know him, but then when you bring those two in proximity to each other, we're looking at them going, who are you? Like, who are you actually? I don't even recognize you. Like, who are you trying to be?
Oh,
You're being
right.
like someone who is not you. And it's so interesting to observe this play out. And what I see is really like just this animalistic desire for the other person's attention. And they don't even realize, like, they're probably not consciously, intentionally choosing to do this. But I think it's always so interesting because I work with adults primarily. And so I work with adults who, this has been so deeply ingrained in their behavioral programming that they don't even realize they're doing it. They don't even realize they're losing their sense of self, or really it comes down to abandoning their sense of self. But to see it in kids who have not necessarily had any prior experience, or it literally is just biologically how we're wired. we want the attention of the thing that we are drawn to. And so the motive for our behaviour is quite existential, right? And it's really been so interesting to watch this play out because you're like, oh my gosh, you don't even know that you're doing this. But the version of you that we are watching right now is not you. And we know that because we see you and how you show up and who you are as a person every single day of your life. But the version of you that I'm seeing right now isn't you. And like, not bad stuff. Like, it's not like there's
just a noticeable shift in gears.
Shift in their behaviors and their mannerisms. And, you know, like my son in particular will go to extremes to make them laugh. He wants to make them laugh because if they laugh, it's like probably positive regard and, you know, and I want to say it's really cute, and it is really cute to watch, and at the same time it's really concerning. So we have been having more conversations, not in a direct way, but like more conversations around when you are true to who you are and you show up fully as you, the right people will love you and the wrong people will fall away. The second you try and control who you think is the right person or who you think is the wrong person, and you then try to manipulate the situation for them to like you because you're too scared that maybe they won't, that's when you're going to blur the lines, lose yourself to prioritize not losing the person who you think is your person.
Yeah. But I mean, applying everything that you've said to an adult that knows or has a feeling, I guess this is what I'm trying to articulate in my head. If what you're doing feels somewhat yucky inside, then that's yourself saying this is not necessarily who you are, you're performing. And you're performing from a place of, I need to do this because I think that's what they like, or I think that's what they've told me that's what they like, or I need to do this to stay safe in this relationship environment, whichever one it is. However, for younger kids who are exploring, and this also goes for adults as well, there are some people that do naturally, without them even knowing, bring out certain aspects of you. So some people, for me, will bring out a more nurturing, serious, grounded David. Other people will absolutely, without knowing, just eke out the hyperactive, spontaneous, loud, sometimes obnoxious, like just that kind of personality, because we're not like, you can't sort of shoebox that one personality based on the same environment. It's not linear. There's also different things that sort of come in. So some people can actually really draw that out and you go, oh, I like who I am around that person, or oppositely, I don't like who I am when I'm around that person. And I guess
That's
comes
a
down
really
to...
good point.
Yeah, well, so like for example, I love to make people laugh. I also love being right. Hey, I don't mind being wrong, but I love being right. I also enjoy to listen and to learn from other people. There's all these different aspects, and so there might just be some subtle shifts, and especially for your son, he's learning what his personality is, and he gets to sort of reach a little bit more because there's a little bit of I think there might be a good reason to reach over here and be slightly more funny. So I'm going to give it a go. Because conversely, well, I'm not sure if I'm using the right damn word at the moment, but imagine if he had the desire to be funny, but his limiting belief said, no, you can't do that because you're not funny, and you'll try and be funny and you'll lose them. So there's this whole thing of, you know what, if he wants to experiment to be funny, yes, it is different to who you are, but how does it make you feel inside?
Yeah,
if you get this burning light up, if he's like really excited and you're going, holy moly, I've never seen this kid / young man / guy before, then that might be okay. Because if he never changes from where he is now to his 30-year-old self, then look back, that's probably going to be a concern.
Yeah.
So allow these. And so for me, it's going to be like, okay, you've changed. How did that change feel? You got some new clothes. You've never dressed that way before. How did it make you feel? I felt alive, on top of the world, and it was great. Fantastic. You can see the spark in your eye. I love it. Da-da-da. Maybe tone down when you sort of go past the point and you overkill a joke. I'll put my hand up, been there, done that. But if it's sort of like that felt really challenging and, oh my God, after they left, I can finally breathe. I can finally relax. That was just hard work. Okay. Come a chameleon. I had to say it.
It's such a good point. And something else that came to my mind as you were speaking was the importance of the question why, like to understand the motive. So, for example, the why. If the why for why are you behaving in this way to try and get attention and to make someone laugh is because I want them to like me, or I don't want them to not want to hang out with me anymore. If the why is driven by fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, whatever, then I would suggest that it's an unhealthy abandonment of self. Whereas if the why is because it brings me so much joy to see them laugh. It brings me so much joy to like see how the motive behind it is different. And I think that's a really important point as well.
And don't get me wrong, it feels like those two things in the middle have a very, very fine separation.
Yes.
Right? So sometimes it might be a little bit hard to distinguish, okay, am I doing it because I generally like it? Or it could be I'm going to say I enjoy it because I'm masking the other part. And look, if you don't know and you're not sure, don't think about it anymore, because your body will tell you over time. You don't need to dissect every single situation, every single interaction. You'll start to gather those feelings over time, and you'll start to see, because it might start off as one and turn into the other.
Yeah.
That's what you might feel, but in essence, it would be
ongoing self-awareness is everything.
Yeah. So I love the fact that he's exploring it, and as long as it's not that sort of, and you've said it before, life-giving or life-taking.
Yeah.
If the experiment and the play is life-giving, that's all you need to know.
100%, because you're becoming more of who you were created to be, more of an expression of yourself in a way that is not cutting from you or taking from you or abandoning you.
And a little bit on the every interaction, every moment. I love being a dad. I love my kids. Do I need time to myself? Yeah. Does that mean I'm chameleoning? If that's even a word, probably not. No. It's just sort of like there's that delicate balance between the two. But you kind of know that it's like, okay, I really enjoy these interactions. I really enjoy doing that. And do you need to sometimes move in cycles where sometimes these friends and these people that you talk to that bring out this certain aspect of you, do you need to take a break? Yep, doesn't need to be forever. Might need to be. But you can decide that without judgment. It doesn't always have to be this linear approach that you have changed. Well, guess what? If you're not changing, well, that could be a problem in itself. You changing in some circumstances, can be a problem. Actually, I've lost my train of thought. But anyway, it's just one of those things where it's like you don't need to always be setting yourself up against these standards. It's like whatever you feel like you are in the moment, be that, right? And some people might say that's irresponsible. Well, okay. But ultimately, your intuition will guide you to where you want to go and to your highest success if you're prepared to listen to it and if you're prepared to push through the fear and the shame and the limiting beliefs that everyone else who doesn't like what you're doing are setting their own standards to and will be frightened or not like the fact that you're not following those same standards. So
100%.
Go for it.
And being willing to allow people to fall away. That's the biggest thing for
100%.
me is I might not necessarily be able to get clarity or lead my son to clarity on the why behind it because it seems very biologically, motivated. But what I can do is actually go, okay, if there is rejection, if your effort fails, let's say, or if the person does judge you or doesn't like you or whatever, that actually you're okay. You're actually still okay. And
I mean, in the moment you're not, but eventually you will be.
Okay, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to be the most devastating thing that ever happened in his life up until that point. But that's also okay as well. Because, Jesus, I remember the 13-year-old me that got rejected when he poured his heart on the line after listening to Bryan Adams on repeat. It's devastating. But it's one of those things that's like, it's not necessarily about the devastation, it's about the regrouping. Yeah. And it's about allowing it to happen.
We've literally done an entire episode on post-traumatic growth.
I do remember. It's not the first time I mentioned Bryan Adams in this podcast series. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's awesome. I think the whole conversation that we've had has touched on something really important. And I would say, like, something I often recommend to couples is if you're going to sit down and have a conversation with each other, like an important conversation, set up your phones and record it. Record your conversation. And the reason is because you can't see how you behave. Every person can sit outside of themselves and watch and judge others and sit there as the armchair expert and watch your, rubbish TV and say so-and-so's carrying on like a pork chop. However, if you record, like let's say you want to sit down and have a conversation about parenting. Awesome. Have the conversations, but both set your phone up and record the conversation from two different angles, two different perspectives. Then, not when you are in the state of the emotion, watch it back. Watch it back together. Watch it back solo. Watch it back together and observe yourself. You are not observing the other person. You are observing yourself. And when you observe...
that's an important point because...
Yes, because otherwise they use it there for the shame and blame again. Oh, see what you did there?
Yeah.
No, you are sitting there observing yourself. And when you observe yourself, you are seeing the facial expressions. You are seeing your body language, the way that you take a sigh, a deep breath, the way you hear the tone of your voice. And it opens up empathy and it opens up compassion and understanding of how the other person is actually receiving you. And
I think this is really important, and I think we need to do another episode purely on how to observe yourself.
Okay, let's do it. Let's
So
do that.
I'm just going to cut you off. We're just
All
going
right.
Let's
put the lid on this,
and we'll
come back
We're going
and
to
do
hold
a
our
whole
thought until
3 minutes
we're going
from
to
now.
hold our thought for 1 week and then come back to it in a week's time.
Yeah.
We're not going to record it straight away.
Alrighty, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.